So you and Scott were in your 20s when they bought the store, and
Right.
you've told me some stories before we started recording about some of the commercials that you guys used to do. Tell us about that.
Well, I wasn't really here that much because I was in college, and I actually came home at Christmas break, and Scott and Mom and Dad are sitting there like, "We've got something to tell you." I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "We've all quit our jobs." I'm like, "Am I going back to college or not?" I didn't know.
Wow.
We've all quit our jobs, and we're buying this furniture store in Martinsville. I'm like, Am I done? What am I doing? But
Wow.
they did figure out how to keep me going to college, so I was able to do that. But then, of course, we had to have commercials and things like that. So Scott and I would go over and make commercials, and the very first one was we stole it from the Smothers Brothers, and it was always "Mom always did like you best," and things like that. And we would do those kind of funny commercials along the way, and gosh, I remember going. It was still reel-to-reel technology at the time, so you couldn't stop. You had to do all 30 seconds at once, and if you messed up, you had to go back and do all 30 seconds again. So
Wow.
we would sit there, and sometimes it would take us 3 hours to do one 30-second commercial because we'd get giggling, and we'd laugh about something that we would make a mistake on and all these other things. But boy, we had a blast making those things. And I remember two of them that I remember. Well, there's three of them. The one with the turkeys. We were giving away turkeys, and we had sound effects and everything like that. And the premise was that I was in charge of going to get the turkeys. Well, you get frozen turkeys when you're giving away. Well, I got live turkeys, and he said, "Where's all the turkeys?" I said, "There's this door sound," and we opened it up, and look, he's like, "They're live." I'm like, "Yeah, aren't they great?" Kind of a WKRP thing. We stole from that a little bit. And tell them about a customer coming in asking about that.
They said it was really terrible what Mark did to Scott getting those live turkeys. And I said, well, that poor lady thinks I've got one brilliant son and one idiot.
Some people really believe these commercials,
Well, he had one where we took on General Electric with GE. We had just gotten GE. So he says, General Electric, and Mark's going, now do I have to salute this guy? He always played the one that knew nothing.
Yeah. So we had a good time doing all those over the years, and I think that kind of came from just being silly and together, and it ended up being, let's do some silly commercials together, and
being themselves.
It kind of became a running joke all the time for those early years.
The first one, we had gone out of town for a few days, Gail and I. We came back, stopped at the grocery store. Somebody walked up and said, "The Boyce commercial is hilarious." We hadn't heard it. I wonder what they did.
What did the boys do now?
Yes, that's right.
That was their first one.
But we enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun doing those.
Yeah, absolutely. Good memories.
Yeah.
So what are some of your fondest memories of Martinsville back then?
Well, it was the first time I got to be here a lot because I was working in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And running back and forth. So I loved it. I loved being in the store from the beginning. And Scott, of course, his love of Martinsville anyway. He said when he went away to school, he hated it. He said, I just want a job in Martinsville and where I can just stay there and work. So when we bought the store, I said, okay, here you are.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he didn't want to leave Martinsville. I mean, it was Morgan County and Martinsville was what he wanted to do and where he wanted to be. And, my wife and I got married, and we got married in Gatlinburg. And we got down there, and we're like, Scott, you got to come to our wedding. He's like, okay, I'll come.
Couldn't get him out of town.
He didn't stay. He came down. Drove down for the wedding and drove right back because he's like, I could get back. I could get back to town. I could get back to my horse. I mean, you just couldn't get him out of town.
Why was Martinsville so special to Scott? Why was it in Morgan County? I mean, he was involved in just more than just Martinsville.
He always was like that. The minute he moved to when we moved to Martinsville, he was going into 7th grade.
Okay. He
never wanted to leave. He loved it from day one.
Well,
that was his place.
And it was, we were music people. We were in the band and stuff like that. Fantastic band director, of course, with Jerry Vogel. And Fall Foliage Festival was here, and we were marching in the parades and stuff like that. And it just became more and more important. Martinsville just became a bigger part of his life that, we just couldn't pry him out for anything.
He loved to check the history of the buildings downtown, just everything. He just liked it here.
Yeah.
So he was probably really proud of the development that's happening downtown.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, and of course, how many times did they try to get that light to come on? The
water,
the water light, and how many times did they try that over the years and stuff like that? And he's like, they're going to get it right. And I mean, he was just so excited every time they put it up there, and it's like, okay, it's great. Yeah. This is what Martinsville's about, and things like that. And and just and that courthouse is just gorgeous down there too, especially at Christmas time with that and that light down there. I mean, it's there's a lot of neat things here. And
fall foliage, my goodness.
He loved the fall foliage parade, and so I mean, it's just lots of things. Well, he would also go, I don't know why they make me go over to the radio station makes me go over and do those fireworks. He goes, well, there's a blue one, and well, that's a pretty green one. He said they used to actually have him narrate when the fireworks would go off. And I mean,
that's hilarious.
But
How
he
do you
loved
narrate
that.
fireworks?
No, but he did. I mean,
and he made it sound great.
Yeah. Oh, and they would do the ground displays and stuff like that. But he was always talking, well, there's a blue one.
Ooh, there's a red one, yay.
I can hear him saying that.